Hi everyone. I have just attempted the Cognizant Technical Assessment on October 6, 2025. The test was of easy level. There were 4 sessions. The first session was SQL questions. 2 SQL questions were given, which were to be solved in 20 minutes. The second session was of Python coding questions. 2 coding questions were to be solved in 60 minutes. The third session was cloud computing MCQs. 10 questions were to be solved in 15 minutes. And the next section and the last session was of Python MCQs. 10 questions were given, which were to be solved in 15 minutes. Coming to the first session, it is SQL. 2 questions were asked, 2 different schemas were given. You can access the schemas while attempting the question. In a loan table, loan date and loan amount, and the other two details were given. I do not remember them exactly, but loan date and loan amount are the most important details which are required to answer the question. The question was to print the total amount of loan given on each date. Loan dates were given, and on each date there were different transactions. They asked us to print the total amount which was transaction on each date. This is the query which can answer the first question. Coming to the second question, four different tables were given in the schema. The first one was payments table, second bookings table, show table, movies table. Other tables were also present in the schema, but the tables which are required to answer the question from the schema are these four. They were all connected using primary keys and foreign keys. Movies table was connected to show table by movie ID. Show table was connected to bookings table by show ID. Payments table was connected to bookings table by payment ID. They asked us to print all the movie titles whose payment type is cash. The query to execute this question is I am joining all the four tables from movies and shows. Movie ID is common. So I'm joining movies and shows table using movie ID. And from shows and bookings, show ID is common. So I'm joining show table and bookings table using show ID. And from bookings table and payments table, payment ID is common. So I'm joining both of them using payment ID. Now I need to check the payment type. If the payment type is cash, I need to print the movie title. So where P dot payment type is equals to cash. This is the answer for the second question of SQL. These are both very easy questions. The first one does not require any complex, does not have any complex requirements. We just have to use the sum built-in variable. And in the second one, we just need to use join statements. We need to join the four tables from the schema to print the movie title as title. Coming to the next session, Python. The first question was to print the count of the number of times the sum will be equal to a prime number. For example, the first number of the input tells about the size of the array. The second line of the input gives us an array with the elements in it. From the array, we need to add the elements of the array to a variable sum and check if the sum is a prime number or not a prime. If it is a prime number, we need to increase the count. For example, here is an explanation. The first number of the array is +5. So I'm taking an variable. I'm taking a variable sum which is initialized to 0 at first, and I'm adding 5 to the 0, which makes the sum 5. 5 is a prime number, so the count is 1. And the next step, I'm adding minus 2 to 5, which is sum. 5 minus 2 is 3. It is a prime. I'm sorry for the mistake here. It is a prime. So the count is 2. And I'm adding the next element 3 to the sum. 3 plus 3 is 6, which is not a prime. So I'm not incrementing my count. And then I'm adding 6 to the sum. 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 is not a prime, so I'm not incrementing. 12 plus 6 is again 18, and it is not a prime. 18 plus 4 is 22, which is again not a prime number. So the count is 2. That is the output. I hope everyone understood this question. It is actually easy. It is just checking if the sum is a prime number or not by adding each element to the variable. Coming to the second question, we need to return the minimum number of rotations it would take for the string to have the same first and last letter. This is actually a validation of password. A string needs to have its first and last letter same. For example, B, A, B, C, S, B. Here, the first letter is B and the last letter is also B. So this is a valid password. And the example we have taken here, this is actually a question from the exam. B, A, B, C. After rotating it, the output will be A, B, C, B, A. The first and last letter is same. So that is the final output. Here, the explanation is a string is taken as input. We can rotate it either left side or right side. But we need to rotate one character at a time, and we need to print the minimum number of rotations taken. So we need to compare both left and right rotations and print the minimum. In the left rotation, first string B is not equals to C. So the count is incremented to 1, and when we left rotate the original string, A, B, C, B is what we get. Here, A and B are not equal, so the count is incremented to 2. And in the next step, we are again left rotating it. A, B, C, B, A is the output we get. Here, A and A are equal, so the count will not be incremented, and that will be taken as left rotation count. In the right rotation count, the original string B, A, B, C, B and C are not equal, so the count will be 1. After rotating one character to the right, C, B, A, B will be what we get. C and B are not equal, so the count will be incremented to 2. In the next step, B, A, B, C, the count will be incremented to 3, and it will go on. Since it is already greater than the left rotation count, we will know that the left rotation count will be less. So the count will be 2, and that will be taken as the output. This is actually very easy, and these are the two Python questions which were given in the exam. These were the exact questions which I got in the exam today. Thank you.